Thank you, Satish. And good morning, everyone. And good afternoon and good evening, based on where you are. So, I guess you all enjoyed day one. Organizers told me there were close to 5,000 people overall joining the conference yesterday. That is the power of community. Right? Let's kick off today's topic. And before I do that, let me introduce myself. As Satish already did, I'm Sanjay Narang. I work with EY as a global lead for cloud architecture and strategy. I have over 2 decades of experience both in the organizations which build technology products such as Microsoft and HP, as well as in the organizations which consume technology at a global scale such as EY. Earlier at Microsoft, I was helping customers and large enterprises with their cloud transformation and digital transformation. And now at EY, I'm doing same at a much larger scale. I work with our global CTO group as a strategic builder and thinker, and my prime focus is to maximize the benefit of modern technologies in our products and solutions, and hence building a better working world. Let's start with the topic. Software builders, are you ready to reframe your future? And when I'm saying software builders, I'm referring to everyone who is involved in developing and building a software, whether you are a developer, or if you are an architect, or a product manager, or a SRE engineer, or a DevOps engineer, or anyone else. This applies to all of us. And let's start with a data point that came from a World Economic Forum report. By this, it seems 85 million jobs will be displaced by 2025. COVID-19 pandemic has changed the job market much better than it was expected. And what also is happening that jobs such as uh, data entry, accounting, or admin support are reducing because demand of automation and digitization is increasing. Organizations by 2025 will equally distribute the work between humans and machines. But the good news is 97 million new jobs will be created by the same time. And majority of these jobs will be technology oriented. Now, we, all of us, the technologists and software builders, will lead this change in fourth industrial revolution. And to make that happen, skill building has to become number one priority in workplaces. As per the same World Economic Forum report, the most competitive businesses will be those that choose to reskill and upskill their current employees. For people to retain their roles in 5 years, it seems 50% of them have to. Just give me a second. Okay, Satish, can you just confirm if you still can hear me? Okay, I hope so. I hope so. Yeah, you can still hear me. And then, as per a LinkedIn report, upskilling and reskilling is top priority for learning and development professionals globally. Digital transformation, which was expected to happen in 2030, is happening right now. Two-thirds of technologists are being asked to do activities and tasks which they have never done. And all of this is putting increasing need on all of us to transform ourselves and empower ourselves with new skills and behaviors. And what are those skills? That's what we are going to talk about today. We'll look at latest technology trends which are powering the future of software development. And let's start with cloud. Cloud has been growing for years now, and that is going to continue. In fact, it is getting multiplied through multi-cloud. It's going vertical through industry clouds. It's coming closer to us through edge computing, and it is actually getting inside the enterprise through hybrid computing. Let's look at some data points here. And I would want to mention that many of the data points and the examples that I've taken in this presentation are India specific because majority of the audience is based in India. But all these trends are global. So the first one is India public cloud services are expected to grow at 22% and reach a figure of 9.5 billion in 2025. Similarly, cloud professional services is expected to grow at 26% and reach the size of 2 billion by 2025. And you can actually see these data points reflecting in how the hyperscalers, Microsoft, Amazon, and Google are investing in India data centers. If you look at the graphic at the right side, right, Microsoft Azure was the first one to set up data centers in India in 2015. They set up three together in Mumbai, Chennai, and Pune. And the next year, in 2016, AWS set up their first data center in Mumbai. Next year, Google set up again in Mumbai their first data center. And we all heard this year Google set up their second data center in Delhi. And AWS has already announced that they will be setting up their second data center next year in Hyderabad. Let's look at some other data points. 79% of organizations are going to have multiple cloud environments by 2023. Hyperscalers are actually looking for growth beyond their own cloud because they are growing in multi-cloud, hybrid cloud, and edge computing. And not to forget industry cloud, which everyone is adopting. And in this world of multi-cloud and hybrid cloud, Kubernetes and Omni cloud management solutions will drive the next set of innovations. And all the hyperscalers have some offerings here. For example, in Microsoft Azure, their main management solution is Azure Arc, and their Azure Stack suite has products for edge as well as hybrid. And Microsoft announced that their application services such as web apps, logic apps are going to run in any cloud in a hybrid with Arc. Google's multi-cloud management solution is Anthos. And they also have offerings such as BigQuery, Looker, and Apigee, which are multi-cloud. Amazon hasn't announced any offering for multi-cloud, but they are doing a lot in hybrid cloud. And they have offerings such as Outpost, Elastic Kubernetes Service, and Elastic Container Service Anywhere for hybrid clouds. Let's look at the next trend. Artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, and robotics. If you look at all of these technologies, they are augmenting humans by making everything smarter, personalized, and intelligent. Let's look at some trends, what's going on here. Conversational AI. About 80% of businesses will use some form of chatbot by end of this year. And we are already seeing that. You see the leading banks in India, whether it's HDFC Bank or ICICI Bank, they have WhatsApp-based chatbots. In fact, you can do banking services through that. You can check your balance, latest transactions, and even create a fixed deposit. Appliances companies like Samsung offer their bots both online as well as through WhatsApp for their customer service. Coming to predictive analytics, by another report, 95% of customer interactions will be boosted through AI by 2025. And again, we are seeing that in our Indian companies. Food tech companies such as Zomato and Swiggy are using AI to predict the customer demand, to optimize their delivery routes, and also to personalize the food options to the customers in their apps. EdTech companies such as Baiju is investing in AI to gain deeper insights in how students are absorbing and consuming the content. And AI is going to play a much bigger role in cybersecurity going forward. It is expected to grow at 23% and reach a size of 46 billion by 2027. AR and VR is also going to be big. By 2023, we are expected that 70 million devices will be sold, and that is 5 times more than what was sold in 2019, just 4 years back. And we are seeing that Indian companies such as Pepperfry and Urban Ladder are really using that to their best potential. For example, Pepperfry, they have an app and customers can go to the app and pick a piece of furniture, and then they can put the AR layer on top of that to see exactly how it will look from all the angles. And then same customer can then walk into their offline store and use a virtual reality headset to experience the whole design of the home with that furniture. Amazing, isn't it? Let's look at the next one, which is no code and low code. And it's making everyone as a developer, and that's why we call as citizen developers. Adoption has been increasing consistently for this. In fact, by a report, by 2024, 70%, 74% of enterprises will use at least 4 different low-code development tools. And many of them today don't even have one. Interesting. Another report from Forbes, by next 3 to 5 years, almost 2/3 of development will be done in-house through the low-code tools. And a lot of that will be supplemented by AI posts. And with the help of low-code, automation will grow even further. Through a data point released by Microsoft, Power Automate takes more than 25 billion automated transactions every month. That's a big number. Okay? And the most interesting part of low code and no code is we do not need professional developers. Majority of people who will adopt this will also come from business background, and many of them will need less than 1 hour, less than 1 month to learn this new technology. EY actually used Power Platform and Power Apps to build an emergency loan processing solution in matter of weeks. And this solution was used by 50,000 small business owners to get their loans processed very fast during the COVID time. Let's move on to the next one, cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is continuing to shift left and will become core part of our software development lifecycle. Attack volumes have been increasing as well as the risk because of the breaches. Almost 30,000 websites get hacked daily, and attack volumes have gone up by 50% just in last 12 months. Apps that all of us software builders build every day have become the most vulnerable point for the hackers. 2/3 of CISOs, by a report from VMware, agree that they now need deeper visibility into applications and data to preempt attacks. The cost for a breach is increasing very steeply. It seems companies are spending more than 4 million per incident, and it has increased by 10% over last year. And there is another problem in this area. There is a huge skill shortage when it comes to cybersecurity. Tech companies are releasing tools which will help developers. As you can see on the right-hand side, this is from GitHub Advanced Security and giving you a lot of insights of your code. But these tools can do only that much. Every developer has to do its own part. Coming to sustainability, it is going to be a big driving force as we advance to net zero future. As we are speaking today, tomorrow, United Nations climate change conference is getting started in United Kingdom. Many countries and organizations are meeting there to check the progress which has been done so far and to plan for the future. And that conference is called COP26. And sustainability is not only global priority right now, it has become a global urgency right now. Both governments as well as industry giants are committing towards net zero carbon targets and giving the targets in terms of dates by when they will be carbon zero. There have been major investments in clean energy, which is generally solar and wind, and in electric vehicles. And there is a lot of research happening to move away from fossil fuels, which are big contributor of carbon emissions. And tech giants are going to play a much significant role. Microsoft, for example, has announced 1 billion climate innovation fund. And they have also announced public preview of Microsoft Cloud for Sustainability just a couple of days back. Google has announced multiple tools to help in sustainability in last few months. They have released Environmental Insight Explorer, which can help cities to track their carbon emission over time. They also released eco-friendly routes in Map. Now you can go to Google Maps and say, show me the route which will take least amount of carbon. And they've also released search in which you can actually find hotels which are eco-certified. And similarly, many other technical companies are releasing such tools. By 2025, carbon footprint will almost become socially unacceptable, much like drunken driving is today. That's huge. Gen Z, which is the people from age of 8 to 23, are demanding companies and will demand much more purposeful actions on climate change and other environmental, social, and governance issues. India has also been doing a lot in this space. In fact, Indian startups are taking a lead on electric vehicles. Flipkart, Zomato, both of them have committed that by 2030, 100% of their fleet, delivery fleet, will run on electrical vehicles. Ola Electric has set up a huge factory which is going to produce 10 million electric scooters per year. I'm really happy to see all this development, but there is much more to happen. Let's track what happens in COP26. And whatever trends I mentioned so far, they are not a comprehensive list. There are a few more which are going to influence the software development of future, such as quantum computing, IoT, and 5G. In fact, with the 5G, IoT will grow much more. Blockchain, progressive web apps, and few more like this. Now, so many new trends and technologies are coming. Who will lead adoption of all of them? We, as software builders and technologists, have to do that. And for that, we have to grow in numbers and scale much wider. As per a data point from IDC, global developer population will increase to 71 million by 2030 from the current size of 44 million. But how is it going to happen? Are we ready for this kind of growth and this kind of scale? Let's discuss that in the next one. And that is the topic of the slide. Are you ready to reframe your future? I'm going to provide you, based on my personal experience, 4 critical behaviors that are going to help navigate and ride this wave of disruptive transformation and revolution. And the first one is work with experience mindset. As per research by EY, experience is going to be the latest trend how the applications in future will be developed. An experience manifests itself in two ways: customer experience and employee experience. But the underlying foundation for both of them is human centered design. You need to personalize the information or the service you're providing as per individuals and personas the way they want to experience and work everything else backwards. And if you see, this is also very much related to customer empathy and employee empathy that Satya Nadella speaks about. Let's look at the next one. Be generalist and a specialist at the same time. Obviously, you will need to develop in-depth skills of the specialization that you are building in any technology area. But at the same time, you need to have high level understanding and knowledge of all the connected technologies and the business functionalities they are supporting. If you look at the technologies that we spoke today, whether it is cloud, artificial intelligence, security, low code, IoT, blockchain, they're all interconnected. So you should develop high level knowledge for all of them to be able to develop in-depth specialization for some of them. Next one is focus on lifelong learning. Technology has been changing at unprecedented speed. Every day new feature is getting released or a new service is getting launched. It has become very difficult to keep up with us. So what will help in that? To be continually curious. Curious about what's coming new. Curious about how can I do something better the way I am doing today. And this curiosity should last for the whole life. And let's look at last but not the least one. Be purpose driven. Purpose driven people do not only bring best in themselves, they also bring best in others. When we focus on our inner selves, which is my purpose, and better me, there will be ripple effect and to our teams, and that will show up in our teams, organization, and the external world. In our lives as well as in our careers, many times we make choices based on where the crowd is going, but later we realize that that was not the best choice. So purpose can help you to be the guiding principle in such situations. I generally take an example of Maps application. If you use a Bing map or Google map and put a destination in that application, that Maps application will take you to the exact destination that you have put. But what if that destination was wrong? And you will be able to avoid that only when you had sense of direction. And I use this analogy to say, if goal gives you the direction, purpose gives you the sense of direction. I'll say that once again. If goal gives you the direction, purpose gives you sense of direction. And I wish all of you have sense of direction always. With that, I will leave you with all these four critical behaviors that we spoke and a final thought that you should reflect on as you go further. Enjoy the rest of your day and all the best. Thank you.